Hey guys, Reina, and I just want to talk to you about something that I've been struggling with for the very longest time, and I know it saddens me because I know it's bad and wrong, but I keep falling back onto the same habit, and that's not giving God the priority that He deserves. My life and everyone who's given their life to Christ, our lives should revolve around God, not just seeking time to fit Him in a schedule or in a box, within the whole dimension of our lives. If you've seen any of my Christian related videos, which I'll link down below, you know that I've grown up and still live in a Catholic home. We grew up very religious, but it wasn't until age 15 where I really tapped into the spirituality aspect of my life and just true faith and relationship with God. It was at this particular age of 15 that I just really got into CCM, or contemporary Christian music. And as a musician, you try to find music that really resonates with you. And just finding music that sounded mainstream and was Jesus related was a game changer for me. I've listened to Chris August and Skillet throughout middle school, but it wasn't until about 6 years ago when I really came into fruition with this whole Christian music. Being a teenager and just having the intense impact of the media trying to tell you that you're not beautiful as they display beautiful, gorgeous, perfect, unattainable bodies and images, you cannot help but just compare yourself to these people and reevaluate your self-worth. Of course, now we know it's all Photoshop and that there's no one who's perfect except our great God. And so yes, I've always known God's love growing up. I always felt it. It wasn't until I was older when I just really started to understand it and appreciate it, just not only accept it. Being a teenager and having depression and self-loathing as you compare, yourself to others, and just having really extreme anxiety, I sank deeper and deeper into this hole. But then suddenly feeling this lightness of my heart and these weights and burdens lifted off my shoulders, and just having this overwhelming pure bliss rushing over me. This amazing, indescribable love can only emanate from our great Savior. Just when you think you've hit rock bottom, Jesus is already there holding you up, bringing you back to your feet. It's in these tough moments that we fall back on God, and in these moments we could only become stronger. So this semester, which I'm graduating college next May, but this has been the toughest semester and experience in my academic career. Last semester was extremely difficult, and I wouldn't have succeeded without God, because He was with me the whole way. However, it's only been half the semester, and I'm struggling in half the time compared to the whole of last semester. Last week, I had a whole week of break, and I just didn't have any motivation to do anything. And basically, having a break in college and nursing school just means you have to catch up on the work that you haven't completed and just working on stuff that are due in the near future. So it's pretty much not really a break, just a long weekend of completing assignments. And so last week I had the whole 7 days off, and I had this nursing grand rounds presentation that was on this Wednesday, which it just felt like this impending doom. And so during the break, instead of me working on this presentation, I just was reevaluating my successes, and I just kept thinking of me failing and disappointing everyone I love. And honestly, in school, when you have to buy a decal for parking, I'm a commuter, so I drive to school, but you have to buy decals, right? And you buy it either for one semester at a time, or you could buy it for the full year, which is 2 semesters. And so honestly, sometimes I just think to myself if I should just buy the semester worth, because I don't know if I'm gonna pass to even, use that second semester within this whole year, or else I'll just be wasting like $130. And if you're in nursing school, you know the grading system is extremely difficult, and 80 is a C, and it's just so unattainable to get an A. And so personally, I'm in the traditional program, which is the last program they'll ever have because they changed this whole new curriculum. So if I fail, I'm unable to get back into program and take the classes that I missed because there's this new schedule, and so I can't just take the classes I failed in because it just doesn't fit. So I really have to work twice or 3 times as hard just to stay in school. And I have to apply for graduation like within this next month, or else I won't be able to graduate. And sometimes I just think of my inability to succeed, and that's a sad thing to think about. And so with this past Wednesday, when I had to present this nursing grand rounds presentation, it just gave me the most anxiety ever, and I don't know why. I had weeks to prepare, and I especially had 7 days straight to prepare for this presentation during my week break. And I didn't start working on it until that Sunday right before that Wednesday when I had to present, and my heart just wasn't in it. I kept telling my close nursing friends of how dreadful the feeling I had about this presentation, which I'm not someone who is unprepared for presentations. I don't get too nervous because I used to perform all the time, and I love being in front of people and just performing. But when it comes to presentations and not knowing what you're supposed to do, or just not knowing your material, that just is so stressful. And that was a position that I was in. But I just kept telling my classmates of how bad this feeling was. And honestly, this presentation was just so minuscule compared to the whole grand scheme of everything. And this presentation just felt like this huge barrier preventing me from even just living life. If you know me personally, I try to avoid driving highways at all costs. And so I had a classmate who offered to drive me because she knew me and my issue with highways. And for this presentation that I had this Wednesday, this nursing grand rounds, me and my classmate were 30 minutes late. And if that doesn't cause you anxiety, I don't know what will. But we were unsure how our instructor will react, but thankfully she was accepting because there had been a car accident which caused the traffic, thus we were late. So I ended up going and presenting last. And honestly, again, I'm not someone who's scared of being in front of people, but I hadn't eaten all day, and my instructor had brought us coffee, and there was no way I was going to drink that with my already tachycardia, or really fast heartbeat. And so I knew that wasn't going to happen. So by the time I presented, my mouth was just so dry. Like, I've been chewing gum the past 4 hours of presentations, and I was good to go. But first words that came out my mouth was dry. It just felt like cotton balls. And it was so difficult to talk. But our God was with me the whole time. When I was losing my voice, Jesus was with me. He was my voice. He kept me together in that presentation, and he keeps me together all the time. So, of course, God is working behind the scenes every second, every hour, every day, all the time. He works even in the smallest things, but sometimes we don't realize it, or we just accept it and just take it as is. But I strive to see God in every moment of every day and just appreciate him in everything, in the small coincidences in life, in the good things in life, or in the not so good things. So when it comes to school, work, and balancing a social life and volunteering, it gets too frustrating, and we have to complete assignments by certain deadlines. This puts us in a position where we place God on the back burner and prioritizing everything else before him. But then this puts our own interests and desires to succeed in life first, when in fact we've already given our lives to Christ, who's already in control. Also, we shouldn't be living for this life alone. Being in college and just growing up in general has really strengthened my faith, because God has brought me to the places I'm supposed to be in the moment I exist. Being an adult and becoming more independent, I come to realize that I just need God in everything I do, in every single moment, because I cannot do this alone. And I'm not meant to. I am so extremely blessed and thankful for God strategically placing the people he has in my life, especially my family, and all the friends that I've had the pleasure of encountering through different sources. So shout out to my people from the internet, I love you guys, and people in nursing school and just school in general. I challenge you to find 5 different things every day that you feel that God is working in your life. Some of you may think that 5 is a lot, or others might find God in every single thing you do every day. The goal is not to see how many things you could count, but just to really take a step back and appreciate and cherish every single moment. I hope you find some value in this video, whether it's relating to any of the student struggles, or if this video just made you really think. Regardless, I just want to thank you for watching. And remember, God's love for you is infinite.